paralyzed, paralyzed. Please don't tell me that I'm bad. You don't mind. Paralyzed, paralyzed. I'm lost now. I'm lost now. Paralyzed. You don't know what is crying. Don't pretend this is a lie. You don't know what is crying. Don't pretend this is a lie. A lie. A lie. A lie. A lie. A lie. A lie.
Yay. Yay. Yay.
The sky is so far away tonight, but I can't lose this one. Got a pride of a falling night. Thought that I was fit to fight for us to be. You gave me life for loving me. Tell me where did we go so
Yay. Yay.
Hello, folks. Good evening, good morning, good whatever it is in your time zone. Hope you enjoyed Minecraft Live. There's no image on screen because I literally do not have Minecraft running. We're gonna mostly be watching videos today.
Hi Tilda.
Hi, Tilda. Thank you so much for all the follows during the intro. Thank you, Tosh is cool. Thank you, Billow Gates. Thank you, Alpha KR93. Thank you, Krikrin. Young Biro. Thank you so much, folks. Appreciate that. Thank you, a zombie, for the 37 months of Prime. Thank you so much for coming back here. And thank you, Saren, for the 8 months. And the hi, Tilda. I guess I'll repeat this because we've had this in multiple kind of behind the scenes streams before. It should be quite obvious that I cannot talk about leaks. And that is all I will say about it. So, oh, that's interesting. Why is it blinking? Why is my mouse cursor blinking? Anyway, what I'm going to do today is to start working on the tech video. So my main update video for the Copper Age drop is done. Assuming that nothing, release candidate 2 pops up and changes something massively. But I would think that the risk of that is quite low. If so, I'll have to redo something. That is out for my supporters. So subs on Twitch, members on YouTube, and patrons all have access to it already. And it will be out. We'll do a premiere on Tuesday when the release happens. But it will have a companion video, and that will be all about the technical data pack, resource pack stuff. And that is not even started. So that is what we're going to start. And that is going to be... Oh, that's going to be interesting, actually. I just realized. Because there is music on those videos. I'm going to have to turn off the
Farmers
stream music.
tilde ground.
That took me a while. Yes. Took me a while to figure that one out. GG. So the two options, either we watch these videos directly out of Vegas and we turn off I think we just turn off the stream music instead. Oh So Hot is done for. We're turned off. And so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be watching through these videos. These are all the technical videos that I've made for this entire update, and then we're going to be writing a script. It's going to be a very long script. So this is, well, I mean, we don't need this for now. So the overlay here is going to be the script as we start going through things. When are you going to upload your copper drop video? It is uploaded. My supporters have access. So if you want to see it early, you can become a YouTube member or a patron, and then you'll see it. Otherwise, you'll have to wait until the drop is out on Tuesday. I can't tell you anything in terms of what is in or out that isn't already announced, Lord Desert. I don't even work with gameplay. I work with tech stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to play. So the video in the background, which is currently just black, is the first of the series. It's for minor pack versions and data pack 82.0 and resource pack 65.0. So we're going to bring up, I'm going to take a separate video off screen, separate window, where I bring up the script from that, and we'll be watching through the video, copying a bunch of the relevant pieces of script, and then trying to make some sense out of it. And we'll do that for all of the tech videos. for the entire series, and then hopefully that becomes something reasonable at the end of this process. Yeah, the release date was announced in Minecraft Live. How often will you add the word nice to the script? Well, I don't know. Anyway, this is going to be one of them weird live streams where you will have me to listen to, but then you'll also have past me to listen to, because I'll be speaking directly to you, and also we'll be hearing old me from the videos. I hope it will be fine. I also hope that the volume of the audio from the video, it will be good, because I don't really know exactly what that is. But let's just start. We'll see. Tell me if the volume is out of whack. Snapshot 25W31A includes minor pack versions and data pack version 82.0 and resource pack version 65.0 with new loot tables and more. My name is slicedlime, and this is a showcase of all the changes. Let's start with pack versions. Pack versions for both data and resource packs now have minor version support. Minor versions of the pack formats are always forward compatible, and breaking changes are done with new major versions. This means things like added items will now be minor version changes rather than major ones. A pack made for a given major version will keep working on new minor versions, but may not keep working on new major versions. Your pack can list the major version alone for the minimum or maximum supported format of a pack, which means that the pack supports all minor versions on that major version. If you want, it is also possible to specify a minor version for the minimum or maximum. This also means the format of the pack.mc meta file has changed. This is done in such a way that the game will try to validate that the format is correct for all versions in the range that your pack declares support for. That means that the supported formats field has been removed, but is still required if your pack declares support for pack versions before the switch. A similar thing applies for the pack version field. It is now optional, but if the supported version range includes a version before the new format, the field is still required. There are two new fields for declaring the supported formats. They are min format and max format. These fields can be a single integer, which is interpreted as the major version number and all its minor versions. You can also specify a list of two integers, which is interpreted as a major and a minor version number. Similar changes have been made to the overlay entry format, where the formats field has been removed. But if the pack supports a version before the switch, it is still required for all overlay entries, even the newer ones. Overlays also now have min format and max format fields with the same formats as the one for the pack section. With all that said, let's move on to the data pack changes, starting with loot tables. Fields that specify a target entity in a loot table, such as the entity field in entity properties, can now additionally target the target entity and interacting entity parameter types as well. There are two new loot table types. The entity interact loot table type has been added and has 3 parameters. Target entity is the entity being interacted with. Interacting entity is the entity that is interacting with the target entity, if any. And tool is the tool used to interact. There's a similar new loot table type called block interact, which also has the interacting entity and tool parameters in addition to block state and block entity for the interacted block. There are now also a number of new loot tables. The charged creeper/root loot table dispatches on the mob that was killed, which means the head drops from mobs killed by charged creeper explosions can now be modified in loot tables. Once any mob... This will happen a bunch also, by the way. I will be pausing and writing stuff. Okay. What you're saying is there's a pack version somewhere that should be pack format. Thank you. So this is basically what I do for this. I will have like a bunch of these retake markers, and essentially that will mean like the sum of all of the retake things is everything I need to go re-record after this. Was it only one place or was it more? Pack version. Okay. killed drops an item from this loot table, no other mobs killed by the same creeper will drop any loot from this loot table. The brush/armadillo loot table controls what is dropped when an armadillo is brushed. The gameplay/turtle grow loot table controls what drops when a turtle grows up. And drops from shearing a pumpkin are now controlled by the carve/pumpkin loot table. Harvest/beehive is for when a beehive is harvested, and harvest/cave vine is for when a glowberry is harvested. In command news, a bug causing some command errors to state "see below for details" without any actual details below has been fixed. And commands that summon monsters now fail in peaceful worlds instead of successfully summoning a monster that vanishes a tick later. A data component has been changed. The block's attacks component no longer causes the item to be disabled if 0 damage was actually blocked for any reason. Now, the question here is also, do I care? Like, what part of these are important for the full update video? Because we're not going to include every single bug fix, because that's going to mean this video becomes like 4 hours. Also, no one answer is talking about min format. Min_format and max_format. Those are correct. Is every new text block a new audio track? So basically, all of these will become their own little section video. I'll edit them separately and then we'll piece it all together for a whole. The original audio for all of this is all kinds all over the place. Most of it is recorded in one go, but then I'll have like re-recordings that are spliced in and stuff. So, yeah. That's all part of the editing process. So what was the item component thing? It felt quite... Blocks the text component no longer causes the item to be disabled if 0 damage was actually blocked for any reason. Okay, fine. We'll put it in there. Might... Felt cute. Might remove later. Game rules. Do we include game rules? It's in the main video. Maybe I include it here too. And a game rule change is not gonna fly. We might be able to just cut this out though. And a game rule change. The spawn chunk radius game rule has been removed, together with the spawn chunks themselves. In custom world news, a noise settings field has been replaced. The initial density without jaggedness field has been removed and replaced with a new 2D preliminary surface level field. This is a function expected to produce the Y level of the approximate surface level. To replicate the previous field, you can use the new find top surface density function. Speaking of new density functions, there's also another new one, invert, that produces the result of dividing 1 with the argument density function. There are also some custom world related bug fixes. Setting with smoothness in a carver to 0 now produces an error instead of crashing the game. And setting the precipitation in a biome to none now properly prevents snow from accumulating. In Jigsaw related news, I do not know what of this to include. I don't think I want to include all of the bug fixes, but this one seems maybe. I'm basically leaving myself a bunch of notes for later me. So you are listening to past me and present me. Future me will have to do a lot of editing, so we'll leave the guy a bunch of notes.
Hi.
Hello. And thank you so much for coming back for a second month of support. I very much appreciate that, Mosquito. think that's what I need. The max distance from center field can now optionally specify different limits for horizontal and vertical axes. This is done by making the field an object with horizontal and vertical fields instead of a single number. A bug has been fixed with zombie villager variants and professions not being properly restored when they got placed using jigsaws. And another bug with the block age processor has been fixed to handle slab block states properly. In tag news, there are a number of new tags. The incorrect for copper tool block tag has been added, together with the collection tags for copper blocks, copper chest blocks, and copper golem statue blocks. The copper tool materials and repairs copper armor item tags have been added, together with the collection item tag variants of the aforementioned block tags. In resource pack news, in addition to all the new textures and models, there are a number of changes to shaders. A number of core and post shaders have been removed and replaced with a new core/screen quad shader. Vertex shaders for post-processing effects as well as light map generation and full screen blitz are no longer past the position attribute, and instead must assign vertex coordinates by GL vertex ID. These passes are now also only executed with 3 vertices instead of a full quad. And that's all the changes in these pack versions. Thank you for watching. My name is slicedlime, and I'll see you next time. Nice. What tools do I use to create Minecraft videos? Well, I record and edit in Magix Vegas, currently version 22. This is Visual Studio Code, but normally I would use Notepad++ for editing the script and stuff. We use Fabric with a custom mod to record all of this stuff. Use Audacity to clean up audio. What else? Bunch of custom stuff. Probably much more. Generally Photoshop for the thumbnails, and also the title cards. Can I find one? Yeah, this stuff. Do I have I don't have an easy way to get rid of the text. But these kind of plates that show up and announce the different chapters is After Effects, yeah. To get the tracking and get the text in and stuff. I use Notepad++, so not the built-in Windows Notepad, but a software called Notepad++. Normally, this time we're using Visual Studio Code because I want it on stream. Yeah, we use Miro, which is a an online whiteboard collaborative software to coordinate, because a bunch of us are doing. And then I have a bot that auto reads executable manifests for the new releases, so that it can tell us some stuff that is changed, and also keep track of the bug tracker to tell us when bugs are fixed. And so those are posted automatically. So there's a lot of custom pieces that go into this. Anyway, that was the first video. And yes, these markers are basically so that I know where to cut the things from when we go to put it all together. Yeah, the bot handles snapshot servers, which are a dynamic setup that run on the Amazon cloud. Anyway, moving on to the next one, which is this. Snapshot 25W32A brought us Data Pack version 83.0 and Resource Pack 65.1 with a new loot table and the ability to have sprites in the text components. My name is slicedlime, and this is a showcase of all the changes. Before we dive into the Data Pack news, a bug has been fixed with the pack format itself. With the change to support minor pack versions, long-form versions of the supported formats field stopped working. That is fixed in this version. Now, let's look at the new text components. There's a new type of text component called Object. This component type displays a single sprite from an atlas rendered in 8x8 pixel size for the current font size. That is to say, it's 8 by 8 pixels of the same size of pixel used for the regular text font. The component has two fields: Atlas, which is the ID of the sprite atlas to use, and Sprite, which is the ID of the sprite to use in that atlas. You can also add things or create new atlases in resource packs for custom things, and the contents of all the game's atlases can be dumped with the F3+S key combination. In loot table news, there's a new loot table for the berries harvested from sweet berry bushes called Harvest/Sweet Berry Bush. Maybe this is fine. Sometimes there was just one loot table in this particular snapshot, but then there was a bunch in the previous, and sometimes trying to combine those two sounds really weird. We'll see. In command news, a couple of bug fixes. Running 2 or more rotate commands in the same tick now properly applies the rotation from all of them rather than only the last one. And breaking a jukebox with a command now properly stops the music. Using commands to set more than 3 connected powered shelves and then interacting with them no longer crashes the game. In entity data news, the weather state field of copper golems now expects a string ID instead of a number. The available values are unaffected, exposed, weathered, and oxidized. And the interpolation of display entities driven by the teleport duration field had a chance of failing starting in Minecraft 1.21.5, which has now been fixed. Where do I put this? I don't really know. Yeah, Visual Studio Code is being extremely helpful trying to tab complete words from other parts of the thing, completely ignoring the casing, which is, extremely likely to yield some nice results, isn't it? Thank you, the Galley, for following. Appreciate that. Welcome in. This pack version also introduces a new particle type, the Copper Fire Flame particle. And there are new where is it? Where do we put it? We put it here, maybe. This is VS Code. Collection tags in this version, both block and item tags for chains, lanterns, and bars. The new minor resource pack version. This is tags just never work out, because there's so many tags added throughout a snapshot series that it just becomes extremely weird to reuse the script. Usually what ends up happening is I need to just completely rewrite the section after the end of this process. We'll put it here for now, though. It has only added items in it, including textures and models for all the new blocks, as well as the texture for the new particle type. And that's all for these pack versions. Thank you for watching. Did you know that every time you watch a technical news video on this channel without pressing the like button, God kills a kitten? My name is slicedlime, and I'll see you next time. Did you know? Frightening. Snapshot 25W33A brought us data pack version 83.1 and resource pack version 65.2 with stuff on copper golem heads, new tags, and more. My name is slicedlime, and this is a showcase of all the changes. Let's start with the copper golems, which can now have items on their heads. Setting an item into their head slot means that item is rendered on top of their heads, with one caveat. How do I make out of this? I mean, this was a change from one snapshot to another. And then it changed again after this. And then it's a like data field of the new. I think I would just like don't include any of this. This only works for block items, and the rendered form is the block form rather than the item form, but the data is the item data. There's also a change to the block states for the shelves, which now have an align items to bottom boolean block state, which is always false by default, but if set to true, forces items displayed to sit on the bottom of the shelf like in the previous snapshot. Let's talk about commands. Shaders no longer get stuck if you use the kill command on a player spectating a mob. The run command... that probably should go somewhere here. This data pack 83.1. Sure. And the click event has been expanded to work with commands that use chat when the chat window is not available, such as when chat is hidden or when a dialogue tries to run a command involving chat. Instead of this silently failing, a screen will now show that lets you insert the command into the chat window if it's available, or copy the command to the clipboard. This also fixes some problems with dialogues where you are no longer stuck on screens if the button to exit it would run a chat command. And speaking of dialogues, selection boxes of plain messages in dialogues can no longer get cut off, and the new chat drafts now save your chat input if a dialogue opens while you were typing a message. In custom and chat, I don't think I care about any of those dialogue fixes, they're all very minor. Enchantment news, explode effects now have a field called block effects, which controls the particles spawned per block, much like the particles that were just added back for regular explosions. This field is a list where each entry has a weight controlling how often that entry is chosen, a particle to spawn, and then scaling values for positioning and speed of the particles. In tag news, the shearable from copper golem tag controls which items can be sheared off a copper golem. The candidate for Iron Golem gift entity type tag controls which entities an Iron Golem will walk up to with a flower. And the accepts Iron Golem gift entity type tag controls which mob types it will actually give a flower to by placing it in their head slot. And finally, the cannot be pushed onto boats entity type tag controls which entities do not automatically enter boats when they get close enough. On the resource pack side, there is a new display transform for block and item models called On Shelf, which is used when that item is displayed on a shelf. And there are new sounds and textures for the end flashes. Okay. Where does that go? I mean, it's kind of a generic resource pack section, but this is kind of item models. Block and item models. I don't know. This is just texture mapping, I guess. Do we even include it? It's so fun though. With the cat texture for an end flash and my face. I have to include it. It's too much fun. Alright. Well, that's all for this time. That's just the outro. Not included in shelf blocks. No, not including it in both because it was changed later, and also not very interesting. Like my tech videos generally don't include a full data breakdown of everything that is added. Like, I don't go through all of the entity data of added entities, and I don't go through all the block data of added blocks. That would take forever. Maybe I should. Never have, but maybe I should. Guess the only things I've done so to have been like fully technical entities like mannequins and markers and stuff. Eh. Snapshots 25W34A and B brought us data pack version 84.0 and a resource pack version 66.0 with changes to profile components for player heads and more. My name is slicedlime and this is a guide to all the changes. Let's start with the changes to player heads. The contents of profile components no longer change when a player's skin is resolved. That is, the item would change whenever a download of the skin completed, which could cause issues. This is now changed, so while skins can still resolve, the component no longer changes. And so a player head with a player name as its profile will now keep resolving to that player's latest skin whenever it is loaded. This type of dynamic profile is made by having either a name field with a player name or an ID field with a UUID, but not both. A name can also be specified on the top level. The resulting lookup will only be done in the game client once the item or block loads. You can still resolve a component ahead of time, which means fully filling out the profile details. This gives you a static profile which will never change and keep the same texture forever. Since this is no longer done by setting a dynamic skin, there is now a new command for getting the profile data called fetch profile. This command runs an asynchronous query for the skin data, and when that is done, it gives you 2 chat links for either copying the profile data into the clipboard or getting a player head pre-filled. One thing to note is that item stacking is based on exact matches, so a dynamic profile component and a static one will not stack, even if they end up resolving to the same skin. And finally, the profile field on skull block entity data now works exactly the same way. Where do I get my background music? Either from my collection that I've just been building up over years, which is what I also use for stream music, or from Epidemic Sound, which is like a content creation music site. Don't really know how much it would blow up the video. I mean, the thing is, mostly it would blow up the amount of work to get it done. Because the changelog does not contain entity data. It contains changes to entity data sometimes, but it doesn't contain entity data. So we would need to fully produce that specification ourselves for every video, every new block entity or entity added. How much is old Epidemic Sound? What do you mean? Yeah, we'll get to it. We'll get to the point where this, when we get to the video that details how something changed, we'll have to look up and change it. In other block data news, the align item to bottom block state introduced in the previous snapshot has been replaced with a block entity data field with the same name. Some command news. The rotate command had started doubling the target entity's motion every time it was run in a recent snapshot, which is fixed in this one. Execute on origin and execute on owner now work properly regardless of which dimension the owner or origin is in. And the error message for forgetting a state value for a block state in a command is now the right way around. In text news, bold and italic styling is now ignored when drawing sprites in text. Some quick data format notes. A bug with how the game parsed MC meta files starting at supported version 15 has been fixed, and the speed value of explosion block particles is now speed rather than speak. And that's it for these versions. The resource pack format has no other changes than the removal of the align items to bottom block state. Thank you for watching. My name is slicedlime, and I'll see you next time. That was a ridiculously cheery background tune. I am not at all satisfied with the script in this state. Like the order of everything is really weird, and yeah. A bunch of stuff is out of date, but the first order of business here is just get everything in there, and then we can start kind of working on improving it. Snapshot 25W35A brings us Data Pack version 85.0 and Resource Pack version 67.0 with player heads in text components and more Copper Golem equipment functionality. My name is slicedlime, and this is a showcase of all the changes. Let's start with the Copper Golem. The item on the Copper Golem's antenna is now using the saddle equipment slot rather than the head slot. This frees up the head slot to be used the same way as for humanoid mobs, so you can now put blocks on their heads the same way. The positioning of blocks on the antenna has also been tweaked so more blocks position correctly and no longer Z-fight. Let's talk about text components. The object type component has been extended in this version. In addition to the Atlas type added in a previous snapshot, there is now a player object type that renders a player face. Like here. Now we have a problem. Because now this is like this was added and then it's changed. So I'm gonna have to was it is it called Atlas? Oh, where did I end up? Oh god. Do this. Retake. And then that works. Yeah, I'm using VS Code to write down the script. Atlas is the guy who holds the sky. So it renders the sky, probably. This has two fields. Player, which is the player profile and works the same way as the profile item component and resolves the same way. The other field is hat, which is a boolean controlling whether the hat layer is shown, with a default value of true if it's omitted. A block change in this version. The ID of the chain block has now been changed to iron chain. Okay, where do I put that? Here, maybe. Previously, it was simply renamed in the display strings. There are also 4 new game rules, which I've already detailed in my gameplay updates video, so I'll refer you to that one. It's 5. But here's the source of that, I guess. Do I just take the whole section from the main update video for game rules? Oh, I didn't mention in that one that, well, I guess I have spawn chunks in a different thing. Here's that script. I guess I can do this. I think there was an and here. Let's verify that. From 82. The spawn chunk. Oh no, there hasn't. It was and a game rule change. Huh. But anyway, do new game rules first, and then I guess we could still do this. Still works. In resource pack news, a font fix for TrueType font providers with oversample. And that's it for this version. Thank you for watching. I have no idea how important that is. TrueType font providers with oversample. I don't know when the bug was introduced. I don't know if it's new or bad or new or old. We probably skip the next video. 36. Snapshot 25W36A brought us data pack version 86.0 and resource pack version 68.0 with a new mannequin entity type, dimension-specific world borders, and more. My name is slicedlime and this is a showcase of all the changes. Let's start with the mannequins. They are a new technical... Okay, I need something near here needs to be changed, but I don't know what. I might have to start shuffling stuff around. Probably do actually. So we do profile components first. Then it makes a lot more sense, but the start of the video might turn quite boring. I think we might do that anyway. So then we end up with something like and then we'll take a whole bunch of stuff from the other script. Mm. Back what? 86. Entity, that is, they do not spawn by default and they do not have a spawn egg. They can only be spawned by commands or other technical means. A mannequin has the avatar of a player but is not a player. That is, it's a thing that looks like a player. One difference is that where a player would show a below score scoreboard entry, the mannequin shows an NPC text. So this is changed later. New entity type called Mannequin. Maybe the Mannequin. That's, but it's also referred to. I think the type could be pluralized. I think that makes more sense. Yeah. A new entity type is singular, yes, but it's a type, and the type could be plural. Entities of a new type called mannequins. Like, I don't know. Called mannequin. I mean, it would be easy to change, except that the whole rest of the script refers to them as plural. And we could also do this. I think we do that. For entities of a new type called mannequins. Yes, so we are coming up on ads in like a minute here. We're going to keep working through this, so if you don't want to miss anything, and this is on Twitch, by the way. So if you don't want to miss anything, you can sub to the channel. That gives you ad-free viewing always here. Twitch Turbo gives you ad-free on most of Twitch as well, including here.
Okay. I subbed.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And enjoy not having the ads. But thank you, Winar, for 62 months of support. Thank you so much. That's fantastic. What did I just do? Somehow, okay. I have a keybind for like clearing out an event that happened, in this case the sub, so that I can, you know, keep track of what's going on in the stream. And apparently that keybind, if you hit it in Visual Studio Code, kind of splits the screen and stuff. Anyway, it has no AI and does not. Right, we had this problem. I think we can keep this. As I go through all of the fields later, we'll add in that you can customize text. Nothing, but it is a living entity and can hold items, wear armor, ride vehicles, have attributes and so on. And it has health and can die. The look of a mannequin is determined by its profile field, which points out the textures to use for the skin, cape and elytra, as well as whether the model should use the wide or slim version. Similar to player heads, this can use a dynamic profile by either providing the name or ID, but not both, or by using the name as a top-level profile field. I hate that every time something mentions AI, I think of ChatGPT. Even though it's such a small sliver of AI, but that's the newfangled meaning of AI, isn't it? And game AI is relegated to old. The difference is game AI actually makes people money. So later we're gonna have to change this because those fields are now on the profile instead. So that goes into the previous section. Maybe I just leave this for now. You can also use a pre-resolved profile from the fetch profile command. Another option specific to mannequins is that you can also use a profile directly from resource pack textures. To do this, specify, and this is now not true. So we remove this. how am I gonna do this? Like there's functionality in fetch profile and in profiles that is specific to mannequins, but if you don't go through the changes to profiles before you go through mannequins, then a bunch of the stuff in mannequins makes no sense. LLMs fail to solve them, but really confidently. I mean, they can do good things, but like 99% of what people are trying to sell them as is not what they can do. I'm lost here. Specific to mannequins is just clearly not true anymore. Important question, Mario or Sonic? Mario. I mean, can you just do this, I guess? I think we'll leave this for now. The textures directly in the profile object. This gives you 3 ID fields called texture, cape, and elytra, which specify the textures to use, where only the texture field is mandatory. Note that this lets you specify different textures for elytra and cape, although the cape texture is used for the elytra if none is specified, as for players. So we could, I suppose, just don't mention it and say you can specify everything as in a profile component. Yeah, but it makes no sense to talk about it in the context of profile components, right? Because why would you specify a cape texture in a player head? So, in order to have anything to show for the changes to profiles, I kind of need to go through mannequins first. I think I'm going to have to reverse the section, so we do mannequins first and then profile changes second, but then rewrite a whole bunch of it probably. So probably we just leave this for now. Another difference with player profiles is the textures sourced from a resource pack are allowed to have transparency. The model to use is specified in the model field. Regardless of how the profile was selected, you can also set which parts of the outer layer should be shown using the Hidden Layers field. This is a list of layers to hide, with valid entries being cape, jacket, left sleeve, left pants leg, right pants leg, and hat. And finally, the main hand of the mannequin can be set using the main hand field. And with that, let's move on to command. Maybe we do include end with this, and then we cut some stuff from that. '86. Can you hide layers on player heads too? No. The hidden layers thing is mannequin data, not profile data. The world border command now only affects the dimension it's being run in. World borders are stored and changed separately per dimension. The locate command now works properly when you... I love how sometimes we just get changes like that, which are like, this is a huge implication thing change, but the description of it is relatively simple, so it's just like 5 seconds of the video. It says, oh yeah, by the way, world borders are per dimension now. Used outside of the build limit of a dimension. And the spectate command can no longer be used to spectate entities that do not get sent to the game client, like markers. That might be worth including. Oh, there was another spectating a mob. Place this in here. There. That's fine-ish. In entity and data news, copper golems no longer open chests that are locked without having the key item. A copper chest equipped by a copper golem now renders correctly. The align items to bottom field of a shelf block now actually aligns items to the bottom. And mobs now drown if their air value is lower than -19. When is end update? We'll add one to the counter. Where's my entity data section? You can ramble for several minutes about the world border. Not my style. I'll leave that to others. In particle news, some existing particles have new parameters. The flash particle now has a required color parameter, which is a standard format ARGB color. The dragon breath particle has a new optional power parameter. And the instant effect particle now also has a new optional power parameter as well. And that is it for the datapack changes. This is just an internal joke on the channel. That every time somebody asks for that update, there is a hidden counter deep within the Mojang office that just adds a little bit more extra time before it arrives. The resource pack version this time around only has a change that removes 4 by default unused shader files. And that's all for these pack versions. Thank you for watching. I don't think I care about that removed shader thing. They're unused. Ending gamer tag. Don't worry about it. But you're not going to get an answer. I'm not going to answer anything on this channel that isn't already announced. You're not going to find out any like news here. So it was 37A, the one that had where I made just one video because there was so little in it. I think we'll have to watch that one. Snapshot 25W. No, hold on. Apparently not. Because I have a video file for datapack 87.1. But I didn't find a script for it though. Uh-oh. Why don't I have a script file for this? They are in the 37. 37A is here with a new game rule, copper equipment on mobs, and more. My name is slicedlime, and this is a showcase of all the news. Before we get into the new features, a system requirements update. The game now requires OpenGL version 3.3 to run. Now, let's start with game rules. Okay, actually, let's just skip a bunch. There's no specified ban reason. The villager trading screen is now properly aligned with the other slots. And a splash text has been updated. Now on OpenGL 3.2 core profile is now on OpenGL 3.3 core profile. Some news for servers as well. Ban messages now properly get sent to the client when there is no specified ban reason. The new Minecraft server management protocol now requires authentication. This is done through a 40-character bearer authentication token, which is set in the new management server secret entry in server.properties. If that does not exist, a random key is generated when the server first starts. There's also now support for transport layer security, which is enabled by default if you turn on the protocol. To use it, you'll need to set up a secure key store. This comes with a number of other fixes to the management protocol, including support for batched requests and the string request IDs. And this version also comes with some technical news for debug code, and in Datapack version 89.0 and Resource Pack version 69.0. Nice! Some previously hidden debug features are now available and can be turned on using JVM flags. This is debug code, so it might break, and they are not meant for regular gameplay, but might be useful for modders. The datapack changes include another fix for locate not working outside of the build limit of a dimension. Mannequins now properly use wide as the name for the wide player model instead of default. The text of text display entities no longer gets darker from setting the see-through property to true. Test. Was that new? Was that bug new or see through something in 37A? I have to go find that issue. Text display thing, newly reported bug. Taking forever to load. No, it was only in this series, so it's not worth including. I have a complaint regarding text components. Atlas, etc. is very cool and all, but we can't format books anymore. What do you mean can't format books anymore? Book contents is text components. Instance block entities now store the markers so they get restored after world reloads. In Resource Pack news, the result slot of the villager trading screen has been moved up by 1 pixel. Yes, I know what text formatting is, but what do you mean that you can't format books? They are full text components. You can put whatever in there. You can put links, you can put whatever. Like the old format codes they've been deprecated for 10 years. Stop using them. You're just going to get repeatedly sad. The version of all shaders has been increased to 330, and there is also a new per face lighting flag in the entity, vertex and fragment shaders. And in stability and performance news, the game no longer crashes if you try to make a mannequin spawner, and a performance fix has been made for user interface rendering. Yeah, that's everything from that. I'm very confused. Um, 1.21.9 pre-3 is the next video I have. Why don't I have video for... What? Okay, anyway, I have 87 datapack 87.1. Was this datapack 87 that we just did? That was 89. What the hell? Is that true? 89 and 69. I'm just incredibly confused. That was 37A was 89. Is that true? Feels like it wouldn't be true. And I'm missing a couple of videos here. Um, pre-release 1. Pre-release 1 is 87.1. Then 37. This is just wrong. It would be 37, not 30. No, it would be 87, not 89. Like to write in a book and format it on the fly in the game? Yeah, sure. I mean, I get it, but it's not a supported feature. Minecraft 1.21.9 pre-release 1 brought us datapack version 87.1 with news for mannequins and player heads. My name is slicedlime and this is a showcase of the changes. Let's start with the mannequins. The NPC tag of a mannequin can now be customized using the description field, which is a text component that gets shown below the name tag of the mannequin. Okay, so we need that, but we need to change it a bunch. This is so long. So we do all of the profile stuff. We do model and then hidden thing. Then probably stuff this stuff in here. Which is 87.1. The NPC tag of mannequin can be customized using the description field. Hidden description, that's fine. It can also be fully hidden by setting the hide description field to true. Overall, the name tags of mannequins now work more like other entities than players, which means they are not visible unless you look directly at the entity or you have the custom name visible field set to true. The pose of a mannequin can now be controlled by setting its pose field. The supported values are standing, which is the default, along with crouching, swimming, fall flying, and sleeping. And a mannequin can now be made immovable by setting the immovable field to true. An immovable mannequin cannot be pushed or knocked back. And mannequin spawn eggs with a profile component now work properly. Speaking of profiles, the local text... I'd like to... Okay. The spawn egg thing we don't care about. Okay, so this textures of mannequins have now been made overrides and part of the profile component. That means you can have a static or dynamic profile with an override to only one of the fields of texture. I'm gonna have to rewrite this entirely. Take. there. There's a bunch of cut stuff here, but whatever. Sue. No. Textures directly from resource packs. They call texture cape and elytra still? Yes, they are. So this is all actually from the same thing from the old one. So we'll do this. Maybe something like that. We'll see. Cape, elytra, or model. The profile texture is used if a field is omitted. It also means those fields can now be used for player heads as well as for mannequins, so you can now have player heads with textures directly from a resource pack. Together with this, a bug has been fixed that made static profiles no longer resolve texture data if their ID and name fields were both blank. There are also news for a couple of loot functions. The copy name function now has new options for the source field, direct attacker, target entity, and interacting entity. And the copy components function now also has new options for the source field. This, attacker, direct attacker, attacking player, target entity, interacting entity, and tool. In command news, when clicking a command suggestion in chat, it now once again enters the entire suggestion. The fetch profile command now also offers an option to summon a mannequin with the resolved profile. So where do I have that stuff then? Just retake all of this. This command runs on asynchronous queries from skin data, and when that is done, it gives you chat links for copying the profile data into the clipboard, getting a player head pre-filled, modding a mannequin, or creating a profile as a text component. Something like that. Hi, why no end update? Oh, because the counter is very high. And also you won't find that out on this channel. I don't know about this text. Probably I will have to sit down and like properly rewrite the whole mannequin and profile sections at some point. The world spawn is no longer limited to the overworld only. The set world spawn command now works in any dimension. When the world spawn is in a different dimension, any commands ran from the server console or other such positionless entry points now run in that dimension instead. The spawn point command now also takes a pitch argument in addition to the yaw. Teleporting a player to their own position no longer jitters, and a relative teleportation across dimensional boundaries now ends up at the correct coordinates. Some changes have been made to the player data structure, where the respawn object dimension field is now always present. The angle field has been renamed to yaw and is now always present, and there's a new pitch field that is also always present. Honestly, I would prefer to see a new dimension before an end update. Huh. Interesting. This goes under entity data. Like again, just to remind everybody, I do not work with gameplay. I have no part in this. So it is really not my place to you know, answer any of these questions, even if I could answer them. First time I see someone preferring something over an end update. Well, I mean, I guess the meme is there for a reason, right? And in resource pack news, entity data item components can now once again be matched in item models. I feel like that was a bug introduced in the snapshot series. Okay, 87.1. But then I think what happens was pre-2 bumped the data pack version, but it only did so because like it should have been bumped in this one. Yes, that's right. So there's nothing left in that, and pre-3 and pre-4 and RC1 are just tiny. I don't think there's anything left in there. So this is like everything. So now what needs to happen is intro, outro, and then like just clean up this thing and then just make a video out of all of it, which is great. How long is this stupid script? 278 lines. Oh my goodness. I just like how barren and desolate the end is currently. It really adds to the ambience of the place. Stands out well against the rest of the game. I would agree with about that, but I think you can make something, you know, you can also make something new that is still has that desolate, barren feeling, right? I don't think, like, personally, now just speaking from me, because I don't work with this stuff again, but just my preference, I don't think an end update that just like crammed the end full of stuff would feel great. It would break the feeling of the thing, right? To me, if I was making an end update, I would make it all, I would add a bunch of variations and biomes and stuff, but I wouldn't like make it feel more dense, if you will. But then again, I'm not in charge of this stuff. I don't make this stuff. All right, so I guess I have to, because we're through all of it, I have really no excuse to not dig into this whole mannequin and profile mess now. And now we can turn on music again. I was quite worried about the feeling before the Nether update as well, but it then turned out great. Nice. It's the end for a reason, yeah. What exactly is happening right now? So, what is happening is we've just completed going through every single tech update video I've made for this snapshot series, copying out pieces of script and writing down a bunch of references to where everything is to try to generate a complete kind of reference script of everything that needs to go into the full tech update video, or like everything that's changed in this version. It's a kind of jumbled state now. Like I would just put the sections in some order. So now we need to rewrite a bunch of stuff that doesn't really make sense because it was all written for incremental updates over like a bunch of snapshots. And we need to probably reorder a bunch of these sections and then write a new intro and new outro. And I need to get this sweater off because it is boiling hot in the studio. The next update should just add all the wrong theories that Pirapita and Oliver had. Oh, great. My favorite moment was still I'll find Elytra and kick her. Because you saw that in the advancement and assumed there was a boss for some reason. Nice. That's fantastic. Okay, so pack versions is fine. But then Data pack version 88. To remember to tag these. Let's find some better background frame. I want something without a bunch of text. That's a hard sell for tech videos because they all have like these boxes of them all the time. There's text everywhere. Alright, fine. It's good. We'll just leave it here. Speedrunning making a Minecraft mod to add spears and Nautilus. Nice. Always happens. I love the new NPCs. Do you know what prompted the team to design them? I mean, they're not really designed. Right? They're an answer to third-party servers abusing players to make fake players, which causes a whole lot of problems. So instead, the game now actually supports fake players. Plus, it's a cool thing that you can make a lot of stuff with. Yeah, I'm just gonna swap places in these two sections and then deal with whatever the fallout is on that. What kind of problems? Lots of problems in that, like, players are kind of special, right? Players show up in the tab list. Players, there are a lot of things that are special about players. So suddenly you'd get like a bunch of players that don't really exist showing up in a bunch of lists, like. Yeah, I don't want to get into all the technicalities of that, but the player is supposed to have a bunch of stuff, a valid profile, social interaction screen. Yeah, like suddenly all your merchants are showing up in the player interaction screen and then on your tab list, and yeah. And it's one of those things where, the more that is just a thing that happens, the more any old random change to the game might just expose a new bug that only happens because there's a bunch of entities that aren't players, but that are pretending to be. All right, so again, let's get into the changes in data pack version 88. Okay, so this now makes no sense. And type all. Adventure mode trick. Report the final boss for their mean chat messages and get them removed from the game. Will there ever be big updates? I'm pretty sure that there has been, like, talk about there still being different sizes of updates, even with the drops. But that's literally all the information there is. I think. Hi, Koi.
Yay.
So this needs to be rewritten, I think. So the look of a mannequin is determined by its profile field, which, yeah, sure, which is a... which has the format of a profile component and points out the textures for use for the skin, cape, and elytra, as well as whether the model sheet is wide or slim version. I think that works. Is there going to be a 1.22 eventually? Maybe. Who knows? There's nothing announced. Thank you, Akoi. Thank you so much for the 70 months. Holy smokes. And thank you for the follows. I didn't see who that was. Mark. Wait, Mark Dave Pius. Is that Mark Dave Pius? Maybe I'm missing some split in that word. But thank you for the follow. Welcome in. Seems likely, but who knows when. After .91. Some form of change will happen to version numbers at some point in time, sure. So this stuff all now makes no sense because I haven't talked about it yet. I think maybe the thing to do is to just mash both sections together. That's how numbers work. That's number one. So what is all this? No. So maybe is there a world where there's like profile changes and stop stupid VS Code and then mannequin fields or something? They should change version numbers to be octal. Maybe we should just go binary. See ya, desert. So retake. I've already got that. Let's just take this entire section. My crest version 127.0.0.1. It will be a glorious version. Before we get into the rest of the details about mannequins, we'll need to detail some important changes to profile components. The contents of profile components no longer change. Yeah, okay. That grammar was not what I expected it to be. When a player's skin is resolved, that is, the item would be changed whenever a download of a skin completed, which would cause a the item no longer changes whenever a download of a skin, which could previously cause issues. There's gonna be so much like rework here. Fun fact, 1.21 is now the only version together with 1.7 to have a .10 update. Well, it doesn't have a .10 update yet, does it? .9 is not even out yet. Take it a little bit easy. Next number will be 1.10101.1010. Very good. What if it's just like .11? I think really the next version is going to be Minecraft 95. Which is obviously followed by Minecraft XP and Minecraft Vista. .11, it's just .11. Maybe it's the Minecraft 360. Followed by, you know, Minecraft 1. And Minecraft Series X. It's just Oxygen's just in pain. Anyway, I should probably focus on this. Minecraft U, the Minecraft Switch. It's combined every cursed versioning scheme ever used. That'll just be an absolute mess. Okay, anyway, this is now changed so us can still resolve the component log line changes. And so, yes, okay, cool. So you get the command. Profiles necessary for local overrides to texture strokes directly from resource packs. There's also a model field. It's called model, right? Which determines profile should use wide or slim model. These fields that are omitted. Profile. Minecraft 1942, Minecraft 2, Minecraft 3, Minecraft 4. I mean, that isn't really the thing, right? There was a you have to put in a Minecraft so there's, in that case, in Minecraft was it 2142 in between, and then a Minecraft Bad Company. Maybe we just you know, do the thing that has been so popular lately with reboots, and just, you know, start reusing version numbers. Or people just go, no, this is the new one. Like, we're just gonna release Doom again. Who needs a version number? Use a UUID. Next version is just called Minecraft. Yeah, maybe. Or, you know, you just pick a version that you really liked, and then we release a you know, a reboot of that. I think it would be good. Just the next version is just Minecraft 1.8. And then it'll, you know, be called Minecraft 1.8 2025. I love how you're expected to be productive while live streaming. Well, I think we have this. I think we have now completely disproven that there is any form of ability to be productive here. Okay, 3 ID fields for texture. This is true. This is good for any of the fields. These fields are yes. Okay. So this is now a retake. Where did this come from? Come from 84? 86? 86. That's the outer layer stuff. We're now gonna need another mannequin. I guess it should be called mannequin data. We'll need a title card for that. I guess I should just add that to our do right away. There's a bunch to do. This is gonna fall out of this stuff, but oh well. Oh nice, somebody added a box. This is apparently extremely exciting, judging by the music. I mean, maybe we switch over to this for a while. I am going to switch over to Miro, which is our the board that we use, and it's going to be very bright. Thank you, Epic. It's going to be very bright, just so you know. There it is. So this is oh yeah, I should probably mark this because I actually fixed it. But this is how the main video looked. This is how we organize all the work. But we basically have a bunch of section placeholders, and I might as well just set this up now. So there's intro. Put your shades on. Well, I guess I will move this over to another screen for now. Pack formats. Why do I get a... There it is. Mannequins. Profiles. Mannequin, not Mannequin Dana. Now it sounds like it's a particular mannequin. Wait, pronounced mirror? You would produce it Miro? I have no idea. Absolutely clueless. Miro. Potato. I've seen a lot of people in the community get confused about the version number. It would be simpler and more intuitive. But I mean, yes. But let's just say that we're well aware. Current version scheme is not perfect. Not well adapted to current situation. However, changing things can sometimes be hard. So item components is now really weird. There's a single item component change, and it is literally just like a bug fix. We can still include it, I suppose, but also, and maybe I shouldn't be doing this because I don't know that it's gonna be this order, but we can get all the cards in, I guess. Yeah, it's definitely not going to be this order, is it? This video is going to have a whole lot of sections. Cube rolls, particles.
Yay.
Some worlds.
Yay.
Jigsaws. Structures.
Yay.
Bags. Oh boy. Edit models. Mapping. Shaders. There we go. That's a fair bit of stuff. Let's go back here. Thank you for the follows, everybody. Welcome in. Welcome Starfan, Tanjab,
Yay.
Indigo, Tamara. Welcome in. So the updates now, the normal ones are going to be 2-year base or like 1.5. So, no, I cannot tell you any of that. Tell us. No, I cannot. It's not announced, so you will not be finding it out. That's how this goes. At some point, something will be announced. Ask me again afterwards. Okay, so I think at this point we're good through to the end of Mannequin data. Do I want loot tables after? Thanks for not telling us. Oh, I had it right. Nice. So there's loot tables, loot functions, commands. I don't feel like commands should just be first. And text components is actually kind of... Okay, hold on. Text components is really related to the stuff in profiles because it's now you can have them. So we do text components there. And maybe I kind of want to turn these around. So we talk about the player face first. That makes a lot of sense. First mode is player, which runs the player face. Blah, 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 blah. Retake. The other mode is Atlas. Well, thank you, Skulk. We are coming up on another ad break on Twitch, folks. Sorry for that. I cannot control it. I wish I could, because I prefer not to have ads, but it's Twitch's call. If you don't want the ads, you can sub to the channel. That enables ad-free viewing, or you can get Twitch Turbo, which gives you ad-free viewing for almost all of Twitch. Some creators can still switch on ads, but definitely here. Greffen, thank you for the follow. All right, so we have text components there. And then I think probably commands after that. Maybe then loot tables. I think that makes sense. Loot functions, item components. So what about all these things? Data, single data components. Yeah, blocks and items. What mob did you actually copy its code to create the mannequin? That's not how this works. The mannequin was mostly created by splitting out parts of player that aren't really related to the player being a player, but just to its form, and reusing those. Essentially, you know, the player avatar versus the player themselves. All right, so we got blocks and items, entity data. Block change. Maybe we just like stuff. We just stuff the block ID change in under data. It's really not entity data. It's entities entity data, which it's a stretch, but I'll allow it. Fine. Enchantment effects, game rules. Particles, custom worlds. I just said that, Octane.
Yay.
Oh yeah, if you have Amazon Prime, you can just get all this stuff. I would say for free, but it's like it's not for free. It's just you've already paid for it. Kareem, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. Am I happy with this order? I like kind of where custom worlds and particles and stuff. I don't know. Your game rules, maybe enchantments moves to after. Yeah. Maybe after game rules even. Maybe before particles. You know, submarine. It's really, you know, a sub from Subways. It's just a tasty sandwich. Okay, so what have I done now? I've moved text components here. Why in the world are you not aligning properly? So that's it. Commands, right? And then loot tables, loot functions. Item components. Blocks and items doesn't exist anymore. Entity data. Entities and data. Game roles. Enchantment effects, then particles, and all of the rest. And then there's actually outro. So there's still another section. Do they call a submarine Prime? Optimus Prime? This is very prime. It's very tasty. Prime taste. Okay. I feel like this is not the full list of tag changes. Okay. This needs a retake. Move this in. 69. Nice. There. All right, I think that's good. This script is just stupidly long now. But would not be surprised if this video ends up quite a lot longer than the main video. Not surprised at all in that case. I think it's one of them evenings. Yeah. Broken scene. Why is that happening? Oh, is it being stupid about scaling? Yes, it is. Thank you. So for some reason, it messes up when depending on which screen VS Code is on. It will just zoom weirdly if it's on my other monitor. Stop making so many tech changes to the game then. No. Different screen resolutions, it might be. My main monitor is a 4K monitor, and then this monitor that's on now is a 1440p monitor. So something in that transition, I guess. And this is a retake. It's not really a retake because there's nothing to retake, but it is just my general marker for record this thing. Should probably kind of mention that this is not the gameplay update. Something like that. Record this thing, please, Mr. Future Lime. Yeah. Yeah, that. There should probably be some blurb here about like and sub and whatever you take. When my old recording computer broke, I ended up having to kind of emergency get a new computer, and with that one I was kind of more or less forced to get Windows 11, and then I spent a good while getting it to behave as much as possible as Windows 10, pretty much. Okay, so that is probably the entire script. Yes, well. So I'm gonna have to do all the, we'll need to record all this stuff, but that's probably what I'll work on tomorrow. As may or may not be evident, I am quite tired. I put a ton of work into the other video, and then it's been a lot of stuff going on this week. And then ended up going out and dealing with all of our lawn basically is getting overgrown, so I had to deal with that, and then went to the gym. So I am quite beat. I don't think I want to do all the retakes and start editing to me. Windows 10 might be the last good Windows version ever created. I mean, doesn't matter because the next year will be the year of Linux on a desktop, you know? I'm sure. So for every mob you guys make, do you write fresh code for it or just reuse parts from other mobs, like with the goat? I mean, it's not. That's not how that works. There's always new code. I was quite happy with Windows 2000 actually. All right, but I think we will call that good for today. Because I think if I start actually trying to edit this stuff, then it's just going to be a mess and I'm going to have to remake it. So let's leave it there. I'm going to see who's doing things on Twitch. We'll go raid somewhere. And then I'll be back tomorrow. We'll see how far I get during the day tomorrow for this video. If I feel like it's in a reasonable shape, then maybe I can play a game instead. That would be great. Still hard to believe Windows 10 is going away basically a couple of days. Not in EU, it isn't. Raid. Who's doing things? Playing a game? It would be great. I've had a little too little of that and a little too much of just editing videos lately, I will say. All right, well, let's head over to Mudflaps, who's doing theory testing for a netherite beacon speedrun attempt, which is an interesting concept, isn't it? Is this working? I think it's fine. Fabian? That was an interesting move. Okay, anyway, thank you so much, folks. We'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully. Saw nothing. Great. All right. Thanks, folks. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for all the questions and chat. And then have a great rest of your day, morning, night, evening, whatever time it is in your time zone. I'll see you later. Take care. Bye-bye.